Percentages were very good. Now I think this is going to be even tougher. But it is Olusola Friday for Nigeria to come out and start on 165, which is reasonably modest when you compare it to the 200 that Stephen Kari has posted for Papua New Guinea. But he will try to get 3 out of 3 and see where that will take him. Touch the knees.
That's right, elbow on knee. That must be a challenge of his because, you know, he's very strong. 150 at the snatch usually doesn't go along with 165 at the clean and jerk. We'll see a bigger gap there traditionally.
Well, we'll hope to show you that. Elbows must not touch the knees. That's a reason for disqualification, so have a look. Lightest of touches, but it was there.
And you know, if you look at the scoreboard as well, you'll see that the top 3 finishers of the B group all out clean and jerked this 165. So even though the athlete from Sri Lanka snatched 125, he clean and jerked 170. And we see Friday here with 150 snatch starting at 165. So that is a very, very small margin between the snatch and clean and jerk.
Yeah, 165 with his good snatch there. That's, as you say, going to leave him short of the B group total. And in particular, Petit Minkuba from the Cameroon, 320 kilos. That is the base target.
That's right, and he will not surpass it with that 165.
Well, nobody else wants 165, so he's forced to follow himself. He has 2 minutes, and of those 2 minutes, he's now got just a minute left. He missed the first attempt in the snatch, and maybe it's going to be the same pattern, recovery on the second attempt. But also, it's important to understand that, you know, were he or any of these men fail to get at least one clean and jerk, they will not get a total, and without a total, they won't get a Commonwealth Games ranking. And although there can only be 3 medalists tonight, all these ranking positions are important because the vast majority of these lifters live on government grants and support. Those are based on their performances, so the higher ranked you are, in simple terms, the more support you will get.
So not a question of power here. The issue really is timing, just like it was when he missed his first snatch. Clearly able to get the bar high enough to get it on his shoulders, but just a challenge, that timing of catching and landing on the ground.
Now something else, Jeannie, comes into play, because this is now the 3rd attempt. And as we've said on many an evening, you come in to the warm-up room with a full tank of petrol. You go through 6 or 7 warm-up lifts backstage to arrive at your first attempt. So he does the same on the clean and jerk. So he may have done 11, probably 15 or 16 lifts before he comes to this one. And so he's got the least amount of petrol left at the moment that is so crucial to him, because sadly, it's exactly what I was saying a few moments ago. If he makes this, he gets 315, he's got a total, he's got a ranking position. He will not be able to surpass Petit Minkumba, who won the B group earlier today, but at least he'll get a ranking position. But not all is gloom, because if he does get 315, he'll be 15 kilos better than he's ever produced before.
That's a pretty good objective for him.
So there is a silver lining in the cloud.
He just needs to resist the bar as he catches it on his shoulders and not let it drive him to the ground. He clearly has the strength for this.
But also, like we've seen with so many lifters going for this crucial 3rd attempt, after the clean, which he has to get as economically as possible, he needs a little patience, not to rush it. Sadly, not his Commonwealth Games, and the man, Olasula Friday from Nigeria, the clean and jerk, just not his night.
If we watch him, he got the bar really high. He didn't even need to get as low as he did, so he raced that bar to the bottom and it crashed on him. Really hard to recover from that. That's that thing we call timing again.
So here's Canada's David Samayoa. Now, this is the international debutant. He comes forward to the second half of the competition with 147 kilos from the snatch, and he's now going for 170. So this is for 317, which will still be 3 kilos a little short of the B group winner.
And let's watch his timing. Excellent. So that's how you do it. That's the kind of timing the previous athlete still has to learn in order to lift the heavy weights that David just lifted.
He's only 5 kilos short of his personal best. He's got a total. From here on in, he and his coaches can enjoy.
Excellent timing. As the bar lands on his shoulders, he's resisting it, absorbing it on the way down rather than letting it crash on him. Same thing in the jerk. Great timing. Feet land as the arms straighten.
So this is the moment now for Mohamed Faiz Musa of Malaysia. Only got 1 out of 3, and that was 138 kilos. And talking to him earlier on, before the competition, his eyes were on the bronze medal, but he's got an awful lot of work to do to get anywhere near that now because of the first half.
Strong clean. Not very patient, waiting on that jerk though. Bit of a rush, but he's clearly strong.
3 white lights and 310 his total.
173 kilograms. He's now in third place. 173 kilograms for Faiz Musa, Malaysia.
Here we see great pull. Had to wait a second in the bottom, but no problem standing up. And you can notice the bar was still bouncing before he tried that jerk. So that's what kind of threw him off a bit. When you position yourself, you need to be stable, but you also want that bar to stop moving so that when you dip, you don't have any problems with it going against you as far as balance goes.
So whilst all that was happening, the Canadian coaches nipped in there to add 5 kilos to their man's second attempt here, moving from 170 to 175. So Canadians want to start mixing it now on 176. Owen Boxall of England, that's his first attempt. Now, they're the coaches there. Owen Boxall talking to Andrew Callard. There's Mike Pearman just behind. And looks like they're going to go for this. Now, of course, Owen is one of the 150 men. So, lying in joint second place. And 176 to start to apply a little pressure. So this for 326 kilos. So 176, 4 kilos short of his personal best, so a decent start.
That's a very decent start in the clean and jerk. Starting by your performance maximum, it's much more difficult. Although he doesn't make it look hard. Wow. Did I hear you right? Did you say 4 kilos below his best?
Yes.
That didn't look like 4 kilos below his best to me. Wow.
Well, that's good joint judgment between athletes and coaching team.
176 kilograms.
You know, when you're talking about the difference between 176 and 180, that is a very small percentage. Very bold move starting that heavy and gave him no trouble.
Yeah, he's lifting well.
Here comes David. You know, he has a great coach with his father in Saskatoon, Jose Samayoa. And he's also very fortunate to have two very experienced coaches here today. Our Canadian team doesn't all train together, but they've got some serious momentum behind them with the success of the 3 medals so far.
So he's looking for 176. As you would expect, just a little bit heavier, so more effort required. Left arm, maybe.
Well, he did the right thing. He's smiling. No question for the judges, it's looking like. The referees were happy with that, so does the jury seem to be?
Yeah, jury are pretty emotional. So maybe just shoulder movement. We're in the circle, and looking down makes it quite difficult to judge, but here we go.
Watch the drive. He's very patient, waits for it to stop moving. Yeah, that's shoulder movement, but you know what? We're going to see more and more of that as we get to these heavier weights. There starts to be more and more swing in that bar, so even when the arms are completely straight, that bar's going to swing around, cause some oscillation in the shoulders.
Yeah, and it's interesting because so many people say, referee, how difficult is that? It is really difficult when it comes to these moments.
That's right. You have to make the decision right away as it happens.
Yeah, and to discern whether it's a press out or whether it's shoulder movement. And you've got no replay.
Exactly.
They actually, the referees I'm talking about, are sitting close to the stage, and they are actually in front of all the replay screens.
Yes, thankfully, because you don't want to be swayed.
So the bar's gone to 177, which is a 5 kilo increase now for Mohamed Faiz Musa for Malaysia. So this would take him to 315, but he'd still be 5 kilos behind Petit Mankumba, the man from the B division, the winner of that earlier this morning.
Just not high enough.
Well, sadly, whatever thoughts he ever had of going for bronze, I'm afraid have now evaporated. Wadi Muskus needs to get that again, and 315 just hasn't come off today.
Yes, he got it to his shoulders, so it would look like it's high enough, but he didn't have enough room to push back, so just needed a little more power to get that clean.
So if you were in that Malaysian coaching corner, what will you be saying to him now, having looked at that lift and analysed why he didn't get it?
Well, you know, I wouldn't worry about what he did wrong. I'd really focus on what he has to do right on this next lift. It's his last lift of the games. I would be talking to him about how he wants to feel more than anything. You know, you want to feel positive, you want to finish on a high note, you want to finish with that bar overhead and making that noise, slamming the weight down to the ground, knowing you did it. Not it's crashing to the ground because it's falling off your shoulders. But I think it's very important as a coach to never say don't or the words no, but all positive messaging. You can, you will, and talk about feelings instead of numbers. At least that's what I do. I really chase the thrill of those personal bests more than the number.
Well, when you look at the opening weight for Stephen Curry of 200 kilos for Papua New Guinea, that is in excess of double body weight. And apart from technique, take some guts to put your head under a bar which has got 200 kilos on it.
That's right. You've got to get your heart and your head under that bar. That is the biggest challenge when we're talking about numbers like this.
Okay, it will be his last lift of the Commonwealth Games, so every reason to get behind him.
Wow. Big comeback in that clean. Little bit rushed in the jerk, though.
And that, I'm afraid, leaves him stuck in fourth place at the moment. behind the winner of the B group from the Cameroon.
Raised bar belt to 179.
Not everybody has a good day at the office.
So much more crisp, clean here, but you can see, watch the weights, they're still moving a bit as he goes to jerk the weight.
This will be for Sonny Webster, England. First attempt. Lifter to follow will be Boxall.
So Sonny Webster in for England. Now remember, he didn't get 150, he got 147. Now he's going to try and put 180 to it. So this is for 327, which would put him into the lead by a kilo. And he weighed in at 93.03. It isn't the lightest weight, but it's one of the lighter weights. Sonny Webster, just 20. Member of the Empire Sports Club down in Bristol. So if he wants a chance of the bronze, perhaps needs to make this.
That was a super easy clean. And look at how he uses that swing of the bar and the dip with the timing, throws it right up there.
Do you know the sport that he gave up for weightlifting? Golf. That was his passion.
You know what? That makes a whole lot of sense when you look at his timing, actually, because the lift is so much like a golf swing. Timing is so important. Watch here for the jerk. It's just like the dip is a backswing. Here's his backswing, and there's the drive. Awesome. He also, I don't know if anyone noticed, he broke a collar when he dropped that weight. Things are getting serious here.
Yeah, each of those collars weighing 2.5 kilos. And vital, obviously, because that's the only thing that's holding the weights on the bar.
Yeah, very vital.
Owen Boxall looks as if he's coming in to start, or I should say take his second lift. I've just forgotten how early he came in. So he's on 326. He's been pushed down by his teammate into second place. And here we go with a 5 kilo increase to take him to 331. And this will be a personal best total by 4 kilos. And 181 represents a best ever clean and jerk on a competition stage. This is high stakes. Come on, he's there.
Just got to stabilize that weight. Wow.
Feet have to be in line and steady. Is he controlled?
Man, he had so much momentum that he had to stop with that bar, and he managed it. I don't even know how he did that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he knows how he did it. That was all bravery.
That's the upside. Maybe the downside is how much energy he used doing that.
That's right. Can he repeat that? Great timing, but quite a grind to get up because it's such a heavy weight. 180 kilos is no joke. And it's such a solid jerk. But you know what? Even with those weights, again, as I said, the bar will keep moving when it's overhead. You can see it's bouncing around a bit. It's not a question of technique. It's just a question of the bar swinging. So let's see how Peter swings the bar now.
So England have the lead. Scotland challenge in the shape and form of Peter Kirkbride. Now, he only had 142 kilos from the snatch, but this would take him into 324. And seriously, Ginny, he has to get this.
He does, but you know what? He loves to channel the energy of the audience, and it's just so much easier to do in the clean and jerk than the snatch. What a clean.
Oh, a power jerk, and
you know what? He moved his entry starting weight there quite a bit higher. That may have been a second attempt originally on their game plan, but he went for it on his first, so great clean. Let's watch this power jerk here, sorry. So the thing about the power jerk is your feet aren't going into that split position. They're just moving slightly to the side, so slightly laterally, landing like if you were landing a jump. There's way less margin of error when the weight's overhead. Because of that, you can't shift your weight forward or backward. There, it was just a little bit forward, and he couldn't stop it because he wasn't in that split position.
And in terms of risk, you were absolutely right, because he did put on paper 175, but being as far behind as he was in the snatch, because he only got the first one and he missed 2 attempts at 145, they decided they had to take the risk. And had he got 182, they still would be taking risks on the second and third attempts. I don't know how brave he can be. What I do know is he mustn't put any more kilos on the bar. Coming out now, and he must do this. As we said right at the beginning of the evening, Ginny, this is going to be all about making your lifts.
That's right.
And he's only made 1 out of 4.
He needs to do the same clean, and that jerk just needs a little more patience in the drive. Straight overhead. But you know what? He's an experienced lifter. He's been in this situation before.
This would take him into 3rd place.
Great clean. Well, you said before, can he be like Richie Patterson? Can he go from silver to gold? Right now, we're not worrying about the medal. We're just worrying about the 3rd attempt. Can he come back and make a nice, solid, calm 3rd attempt, much like Richie Patterson did last night?
You know, his Malta preparation was 3:31. He was a silver medalist in Delhi. And, you know, he was so close in Delhi. Just missed the goal by a kilo. But this is real pressure. I'm really glad, though, that somebody else wants this weight to just give him a bit of respite, because he needs that for the 3rd attempt.
And I'm really glad to see that it's the Canadian that wants this weight. This is a big jump for him. And such a gutsy catch. He really threw himself under that bar. It wasn't moving super fast, but that is real courage, throwing yourself under a bar to get that low. Really tried as hard as he could, couldn't get up.
And what they were doing there, I think, Jeannie, in my book, was they were looking to the future. They gave him a big target. And he did get it onto his shoulders.
He did get it onto his shoulders, but he really got buried in that squat position. There was no chance to stand up right away, and it makes it really hard. Dead stops in that weight range.
First ever international competition of any kind. I think that's a performance which, big pat on the back.
Oh, definitely. 6 kilo jump followed by another 6 kilo jump. It's very gutsy. But speaking of gutsy, this is where we need to see guts. This is where we need to see the head and heart under the bar.
We sort of already know, don't we, that the gold is beyond him. And there's so many lifters out there with attempts to come that, well, it would be a miracle if he can get on the podium. But for goodness sake, let's get behind him and let's get this total done.
Competition plans change, and right now, this lift is the only one that matters for him today. And that was his best clean.
He did his best, but I'm just thinking that maybe the occasion, maybe the presence, maybe the fans, maybe all the family, goodness knows, but something got to him, because we know that Peter Kirkbride
Great clean.
can do this almost at any day of the week.
You know, sometimes there's just no explanation. The lift is either good or it isn't, and today it just didn't happen for him. I think he was still in the zone, though. He really seemed to be focused and going after it. I hope that he's proud of himself. He definitely composed himself well after that last miss.
The competition moves on as the bar goes up to 183 kilos, and this is for another of the 150 boys at the halftime. Chandrakant Mali for India. New leader, 333.
Very lightweight for him too. It looks like he's capable of a lot more.
So the battle is really on now for the medals.
Same weight remains on the barbell for Owen Boxall, England, third attempt.
Very great pull. Not easy. You can see on the halfway up mark there, like halfway out of his squat. Bit of a sticking point. But he's one of those athletes that looks like if he can get straight, stand all the way up, he's going to get that jerk without question.
So there's Debbie working with him, whizzing over. But just whizzing over to say what they want to go for. And they've gone to 188. They've gone to a 5 kilo increase straight away. And whilst that's happening, the bar going to 185. Simply Rebar has put his up to 188. So the English boy is about to get into this. Keith Morgan just putting, I think, Sonny Webster in. No, it's going to be Boxall at 185. It's
185 kilograms now on the barbell for Owen Boxall.
yeah, Keith Morgan there just put a kilo on for Sonny Webster to 186, and that effectively requires Owen Boxall to come out for his third and final attempt. And this will be a 4 kilo increase to 335. And again, Jeannie, territory he's not been in before today.
No, this puts him in first. This will give him a chance, you know, to wait and see where the chips fall with those other athletes who haven't lifted yet. But you know, that last lift wasn't easy, and even repeating that same weight again is difficult. And now he's got a few more kilos.
He used a lot of energy on that previous attempt.
He's got to be efficient.
If he cleans it, he's got a chance.
Wow. Getting steady. Oh, so close. Looks like he had a bit of a blackout there.
Yeah. Dr. Irani is with him.
Taking his belt off right away, may have lost oxygen.
Well, it leaves Owen Boxall in silver medal position 331. He's just got to wait and see what happens with everybody else. But now, here is the interest, because Sonny Webster is putting 6 big kilos on this bar. This would take him to 333, and his body weight of 93.03. He's lighter, just looking at this. Boxall is 92.84, but this is chasing actually the Indian, and he's lighter than Mali of India. So this would put him into first place. And for the first time this season, he would overtake Owen Boxall. Owen Boxall has beaten him on 2 occasions this season.
That's a great clean. Ooh, a little rushed in the jerk. Definitely has it in him. He might even go higher. I wouldn't be surprised. We're going to see how this plays out. Who goes next?
Same weight will remain on the barbell, 186 kilograms for Sonny Webster. England.
He's called at 186. Does he want to stay and follow himself, or does he want to take a risk and go heavier?
This is absolutely crucial at this moment here, because you've got Reboam of Australia alive, Chandrakant of India alive, and Stephen Kari, who also hasn't started. But this will put him into first place, and it would, by body weight, put him in front of the Indian. And then, if Chandrakant happens to run into trouble on his second and third attempts, Sonny's got that outside chance of stealing a bronze medal.
That's right. These are hard calls to make.
Oh, he's put it, where's he going with Sonny Webster? Still on 186.
Coaches are reading the scoreboard.
Still got 1 minute and 20 seconds before he has to come out and
going in
lift.
for a change.
Now, what are they going to do? No.
No, they're shaking their head.
No, they're saying
We ran out of time for changing.
Yeah. So it's got to be 186. Do it and hope.
He's smiling. He's soaking the moment in, and that's what you really got to do. He has nothing but potential in front of him. He's got 1 minute left where this stage is his. No matter what happens, he's got to make this moment count. Don't rush through it. Needs to do that clean again and just savor the moment a little bit longer before doing that jerk.
It just, as you say so often, just needs that little bit of moment of patience once he's got it on his shoulders. But remember, this is the hardest lift of all. It's the last one. It's the third attempt.
What a gutsy clean. This is not going to be an easy jerk, but it's his last one.
Well, he remains in third place, but I think we're going to see a whole lot more of Sonny Webster in the years to come.
Unbelievable that he's just a junior for this year to come.
First attempt. The follow will be Marley. Reboam followed by Marley. If successful, this moves him up into first place.
So it's going to be Reboam, who, remember, was the leader at the halfway stage, and he comes in here with 153 kilos. Now, 341 will be the total, and he'll be very aware that his biggest rival, on paper at least, is the man from Papua New Guinea, who has posted an opener which is 12 kilos more than his starter here. But it's all about making the kilos and getting the score on the board.
What a speedy clean. And a speedy jerk for that matter. Super easy.
So the man from the Hawthorn Club, whose hero is Pyrrhus Demas, a man who left his home country and still can only connect with his family on the phone and Skype. What a great start.
That's a very solid lift, and you know we've only got 3 men left in this competition, so they're all medal. Well, once our athlete from Papua New Guinea has a first clean and jerk on the board, they're all on the podium.
Yeah.
It's a question of what color.
Yeah, absolutely so. So Chandrakrant Marley, who almost goes about his business, almost overlooked in this competition, but he's just quietly making progress lift by lift.
Although this lift will not change his ranking.
5 kilos to 338. This would take him.
What a solid clean.
Well,
what a dance, and he held it.
Yeah. What did the jury make of that? 3 white lights.
Not easy doing those kinds of dances to save a weight.
Well, of course, the way we're going, both Chandrakrant and Simplice are going to lift out before the Papua New Guinea man starts.
Yes. Amazing save there.
Yeah, and again, you might have seen a bit of movement, but it was shoulder movement.
That's right.
So where does he go from here? He's not going to take 189.
Well, he is heavier than the Australian athlete. So what he'll be trying to do now is take a weight that will give him a chance to beat the total that the Australian athlete already has and hope that something goes wrong.
Well, the Australian athlete, as you say, has put the bar up to 193. So at the moment, he's 3 kilos behind. In any case. So,
193 kilograms now.
Yeah, well, what they've done with the Indians is just to put it up 194, just to get ahead, to force the Aussie to come in and lift, and then they'll see where the Aussie chooses to go. They're going to play that card. They want to be the last to play it between him and the Aussie. It's just a question of how the 2 coaching teams work this out. And again, this is crucial, because if they get into a punch-for-punch thing on the marshal's desk, they could blow it for both boys.
That's right. The stakes keep going up. The numbers keep rising. Eventually, someone's got to come out and try to lift that weight.
And it's happened. Simply Sribaum went to 195, and the man from Papua New Guinea has decided, well, he went down. He's gone down from 200 to 195. So they put the Indian in now. So now the Indians have got to decide, do they want to go up? So are the Indians prepared to go to, for example, 196?
Doesn't look like it. They're coming out at 194.
So what the Indians have decided is, this is what our man can do. Let's do it. And let's then see how brave and good these other two guys are.
That's right. Let's push them into uncomfortable territory.
Yeah. And remember, the man from Papua New Guinea has not got a score on the board in the clean and jerk.
Very good point. Anything can still happen.
So this would be for 5 out of 6 and the lead. Can he stand up? No, he can't.
So hard to get buried down there like that. He was trying to bounce to get out of it. Just no way to generate the force from that position.
So he's in silver, and he could easily be pushed down into bronze. But now, Stephen Cardi now has to put his chips on the table now. 195, he came down from 200, which I think is sensible. Remember, he starts 4 kilos lower than Simplice Rimba from the first half.
I love how this athlete walks out just so ready to attack the bar. He's in a great position with that big clean and jerk on his side.
Well, he's looking for 344 to zoom into first place. And this will make his job so much easier if he manages to do this now.
That's right.
Ho, ho, ho. And he's going to have to do this again because Simplice Rimba has pushed his up to 195.
And it's his
second attempts. Well, they're both on second attempts, unless Simplice wants to change it.
That's right. Second attempts for the athlete that didn't just lift, they trump.
So the bar's loaded, and that means the clock will start. Now, it's up to the Aussies. How high do they want to play here?
And how much do they want to mess with the recovery of Stephen Carey?
196.
They're trying to get him with the clock now. He could have had 2 minutes if they would have went up right away. Because another athlete has been called, they start the clock at 1 minute again.
So this is the poker game. This is the tactics. The Aussies have made the move only by a kilo, but because the man from Papua New Guinea failed, he has to come in and secure a total.
Yes, that was just a little case of lifting lighter than your effort was. There we go. A little off on the timing, but you can see this weight is not his maximum, because that kind of jerk doesn't happen with maximum weights every day. What an amazing lift at the jerk there. Now
so 344, first place.
Now he's put the Australian in the position that he has to come out and deliver on this 196.
This is an 8 kilo increase.
Although there was not too much difficulty at that 188, this is really going to come down to controlling the weight in the moment and not rushing, getting overexcited.
So 8 kilos go on, 349, and then he'll say to Stephen Carey, okay, catch me if you can. Oh, brilliant recovery.
Very patient.
Come on. What a fight. Fantastic.
And another amazing celebration dance.
When champions are asked, champions deliver.
That was very solid. Great clean. Very patient here with the setup. Very solid and so confident. You can tell he believes this is his day.
So, body weight, just to compare here. Stephen Curry, 92.81. Simplice Boam, 92.52. So, remember, he's got to get that extra kilo because the Australian is lighter. So this is 5 kilos. I'm just having a look at the maths here. 92.81, 5 kilo increase would take him to 349. Am I right?
That's correct, yep. You've got it.
Now hang on, 349, but his body weight is 92.81.
And the Australian is 92.92, so
it's
this
92,
would put him in a tie, but bring him to first on body weight.
Yeah. So he's doing exactly what he needs and no more.
And he needs a more efficient clean than that last one.
So it's Simplice is standing backstage. He's watching the television. This man's out here. If he lifts this, he is the champion. If he misses it, it goes to Australia.
What a fight. Wow, that was the most spectacular lift of the day so far.
And the champion of 94 kilos is Simplice Boam at the moment, because the jury, the referees I should say, have gone 2-1 against him.
1 kilogram to 201 kilograms. 201 kilograms.
Complete look of disbelief and confusion here.
Third attempt.
Can't see from that view if there was an elbow on the knee.
If successful.
But man, what a jerk.
Positions. So this one is for you.
Oh, the jury has called
201 kilograms.
the announcer,
Australia, third attempt.
which means
Lifting this group.
there
Well,
may be a change in decision.
well, hang on a second.
He's saying,
The competition has been stopped.
So this can happen from time to time. So while
So
here we go, here's the replay.
I would ask you to take out your mobile telephones and send us your tweets. Hashtag 2014 weightlifting. You'll see them come up on the board.
Sure came
Send
close.
them. We get hundreds through.
now,
Don't know if it actually made contact. You'd need to be a lot closer to judge that, I think.
So please tweet
remember that
weightlifting so
third attempt at 200 was the Papua New Guinea's last attempt. So if this stands, the victory goes to Australia.
May have brushed with the right arm, but you know, by the look on his face, I'm not sure. He didn't seem to see that one coming.
Here we go. Let's have a look. Oh, that's a touch on the knee.
Yeah.
That is a definite touch on the knee. And yeah, this is going to be held up. This is going to be maintained. And that means the Australian would have recaptured this title for the country that has dominated this weight class more than any other. I remember Simplice anyway, he's got another go. He's got one more attempt at his disposal. It's that 8 kilo second attempt which has really put the pressure. Now this has to remain because we've seen the evidence, and I just hope the audience is quiet. Here comes the official announcement. Oh. Well, Well, we, with the advantage of video, know that that was a wrong decision.
I'm not sure from front on, you know, if it actually touched, though. That would really require a side view, I think, to be 100% sure.
Well, I actually saw the flesh indentation there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I mean, we'll have a look at it in a moment again, hopefully, but now Simplice finds himself 349. So he's put 6 kilos on the bar.
What I think this athlete needs to focus on right now is not being frustrated. He's probably feeling robbed right now if he saw a touch in the replay as well. He didn't anticipate needing this lift.
Maybe let's see what happens here, then maybe we'll get a chance to have a look at it again. But this is for the gold medal. He's left in silver. And as you said, he really feels robbed.
And there's Stephen Curry picking up his coach.
Well, Papua New Guinea, whichever way you like, whatever way you think, they've got the gold medal and it's gone to Stephen Curry. But
He did his job.
I'd really like to have a look at that lift before.
Good sportsmanship there.
Yeah.
Shaking hands. I mean, do what you can at the end of the day. You lift what you have to lift, and you can't hold anything against this athlete. He just did the job when the time came.
Well, let's just have a look. Was this the right decision or the wrong one? That touched. For me, that touched. And I have to say, Gary, the president of the jury, has not made any mistakes, but I think that's the first one, and I think it's a big one.
Well, let's say, just to be clear, that they don't have a replay.
No.
So they had to go from memory, and when I saw the lift at first, I didn't see the touch either, so.
Well, either the referees, and actually, this is the point. Obviously, the referees who gave the no lift were not convincing in their explanation to the jury as to why they gave the red light.
Yes, this is a very exceptional way for the competition to end, but still an amazing jerk by Stephen Curry of Papua New Guinea.
Well, I think the second attempt by Simplice Reboam to put 8 kilos on to create the 249 was absolutely amazing.
Yes, definitely. You know, what's really hard is Simplice will have a hard time tonight, feeling again robbed by the jury. But, you know, he did have the chance to make that 201, and he did have the strength.
Well, the thing was, he was backstage looking at the television, so he's actually seen that with his own eyes.
He has, but doesn't change the fact that he had the strength to lift it. He got distracted by what was going on around him, and that's going to be hard to get over.
To be honest, I didn't really think he had a chance with the third attempt after all that had gone on, because it was in his head. He'd seen it himself backstage. So, you know, when that gets into you, what chance do you have to make the third attempt?
Well, he's an experienced competitor, and I'm sure maybe given one more try, he could have refocused his energy.
But, you know, there's a heck of a difference between being a champion and a silver medalist.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough pill for Simplice to swallow.
Well, it's been some competition. These are the clean and jerk contributions leading to the ultimate result. And that 200 kilos given to Stephen Curry has made all the difference. Spare a thought for Peter Kirkbride. Sadly, not his night when he so wanted it to be the biggest day of his weightlifting life. So this is how the 94 kilo category finished up. The Commonwealth Games Championship. It's gone to Papua New Guinea ahead of Australia. So there it is, 349 wins the day by virtue of lighter body weight for Stephen Curry over Simplice Reboam. And then Chandrakant Mali, a worthy bronze medalist there. Owen Boxall, personal best, so an excellent competition for him, although frustrating to finish fourth. And Sonny Webster, what a future lies before him. And Samoa of Canada, personal best, first international competition, excellent for him.